Hey brewers, well, we've got the brew day on, and I decided, that I'll do this Supercrisp Mid first. The reason for that is the hazy IPA, what is it? The Cooper's hazy IPA kit. They don't take as long to ferment and get right as opposed to this lager. So I have all the ingredients in the box except for the yeast. I have put them in the fridge. So here's the recipe that comes with this pretty neat little kit. Anyway, I like it anyway. And it says that packet, that 15 gram packet, is the S189. It says it's a S189 yeast sachet, but it does have the Cooper's branding on it. But maybe that does give some insight into what yeast might actually come with the Cooper's lager cans when they're the specific lager varieties, the S189s, which is the Saf Lager Swiss lager yeast. And it says try to ferment between 12 to 16 degrees. The go-to temperature for me for S189 is 16 degrees. It will ferment at a lower temp, but I find 16 gives the best flavour profile, and there are a few people out there that I think would agree with that for anyone who's used and fermented at different temperatures. First thing I need to do is, you get a little bag of carapils, 250 grams. You need to crack this and then steep it for 30 minutes at 70 degrees. So I will crack the grain. So in here I have my 250 grams of crushed carapils. And 2 litres of water. This is at 80 degrees, and the reason why it's 80 is because temperature of the pot and the grain are going to reduce the temperature pretty quickly on the water, and I want to make sure it's around 70. One thing I do miss about all grain brewing at the moment is the smell of the grain in the water when it's mashing, and that's sort of what we're doing now with this 30-minute timer. I'll leave that go. I do miss it. Looking at my calendar between now and Christmas, it's just, between now and the period before Christmas where the beer needs to condition and ferment and all that stuff, there's not going to be enough time. So I want to make sure that I've got enough to get me through the Christmas period, or some nice beers to get me through the Christmas period when I may not feel like going down to the bottle shop. So we'll leave that for 30 minutes and we'll come back and start mixing all the ingredients. Cheers. It's been 30 minutes. And what we're going to do now is just strain the wort, and then just to make sure we kill all the bugs, we will we'll boil it for 5 minutes. If you're wondering what, I'm not going to worry about sparging that. There's really not much that you'll gain from it. But if you're wondering what to do with your spent grains, one of the things I do is I feed it to my chickens. If you don't know anyone with chickens, then you can make these into dog treats. You just have to bake them into some flour and make some dog biscuits, and they go nuts for them. But what we'll do now, we'll bring that down there to the boil for 5 minutes, and that'll kill everything. And then we can get to mixing. Right, we've boiled the carapils steeped wort. Now we'll add our extract. Okay, that's effectively all the mixing of ingredients I need to do. Instructions say you don't need to worry about the dry malt extract lumps. They'll eventually dissolve anyway. But I'm just going to put this in the fermenter, in the fermentation chamber, and then I'll add the cold water to bring it to pitching temp. Okay, so I've made it up to 25 litres, and now it's time to add the yeast. It's literally, I'm just going to sprinkle it on top. I am happy that the Coopers have finally given us a bit more yeast, and if it really is, oh yeah, it even says on the back, hopefully you can see it, S189. At the moment I'm at 12 degrees for the wort. So it says to try and get it as close as possible to 18. 12 is fine. Yeah, this is interesting. Don't know if it's all S189. So can you see in there? Just hopefully it focuses. But anyway, the point is that there's two different colour yeast samples in there. So I'm tipping that half of this is S189 and the other half is probably their very neutral extract kit yeast. But I want to see how these advanced recipe kits go. To me they're a bit overpriced for what they are. But in saying that, 25 litres for, I think it's $44. That's nearly 3 cartons of beer. For 3 cartons of mid-strength in Australia, that's close to $135. But we'll leave it to ferment for a couple of weeks, keg it, and then we'll be back for tasting soon enough. Alright, it's good to be back brewing. It's a shame it's not all grain, but I got to make a living to be able to pay for home brew. Alright, till next time, happy brewing.